Alrighty, so because I don't exactly have any idea what to be posting currently, I guess I could just draw again, but I figured it'd be a little bit different because I wanted to do something a little different. I figured why not just talk as well as put music over something. Now I'm a pretty boring person, so I don't exactly know what to talk about most of the time. So I just figured I'll just talk about what I like. And there are many different ways that I can start this, but I guess I'll just start since it's the most prominent thing on my channel. If you look at the live section of my channel, you'll see it. I'm a big fan of Pokemon. I use Pokemon music most of the time for my outros and everything. And I just figured right now would probably be the best time to do it if I wanted to talk about it at all. The reason for that it will be talked about later in the video. But yeah, I figured I might as well talk about this now if I want to do something like this, and maybe I can do something. Maybe I can do a video about something else eventually. Maybe the only other one that I really streamed is Sonic, but I do like more things than that. I just like those two a lot. So yeah, I brought up figuring that I would do Pokemon now, and it's because I play Pokemon Masters. And if you've kept up with anything Pokemon Masters related, assuming you didn't want things spoiled for you and stayed away from data mines and stuff, you would know that apparently there's supposed to be a Pokemon Presents on the 8th of August. I'm currently recording this on the 2nd. Normally I would be recording a video on a Thursday, but it is a Wednesday. I just figured I'd do this now. And yeah, they found data that suggests, or I'm not even sure if it's suggesting, I think it just outright said that there would be one on the 8th. So I figured, might as well, that it's less than a week away. And then if I can get this up like Friday or Saturday, I can still have like 1 or 2 days to really do whatever before that comes out. Because if I mentioned it here and this does go up, then I'm probably going to end up talking about it in a video that week. Maybe it probably will come out on Friday, to be honest. That's usually when I try to upload stuff. Also, this has nothing to do with this video, but I haven't been, at the time currently, I haven't been posting all that much. I just haven't known what to post. I think I said this kind of already, but I haven't known what to post for a bit. I just need to pick something and then just do it, I think. But yeah, so the Pokemon Presents will probably happen on Tuesday of next week. And so I figured I might as well talk about something in Pokemon related. Just letting my thoughts out there. That just felt like I should talk about a series that I like that has been actually part of my childhood for as long as I could, or my life really, as long as I can remember. So I guess I should start with the Pokemon Presents itself. I honestly don't know what we would see there. I feel like the Pokemon Masters first Scarlet and Violet character is probably going to be there. If you've seen the leaks, the same leaks that revealed the Pokemon Presents happening soon, you would have seen what character that was, but I'm not going to say anything about it. But yeah, they're on like their fair starts on the same day, so it would make sense that they'd be like directly after the Presents, most likely. So yeah, I'll be rolling to get them. I don't spend money on the game, so I'm going to be grinding those gems back, depending on how much I have to spend to get them. Got the Gloria ult today at first pull, so I'm hoping that I get it with that same luck. Other than that, I guess Detective Pikachu 2 news would work. What was it? It was Detective Pikachu Returns. That would probably be the best place for that, because we saw it in the Direct in June, and as for most things from the Direct, it's been radio silence. What else? Maybe some of the Netflix shows. So there's going to be some for Pokemon Unite. There usually is. The Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC, yeah, that would be there, because we're rapidly approaching when the first part of that should be coming out. For that, They probably will focus more on the first part. They'll be focusing on both just because they're two parts of the same thing compared to Sword and Shield where they were mostly separate. So yeah, I can expect to see that. Now, there are rumors that there is a new thing involving terrestrialization in that. I will not say anything about it. But if it is like what some people, specific people, are claiming, then I think it will be cool. I'll probably like it, to be honest. As long as it isn't complete and utter trash, I usually end up liking something. Vulpix is in the first one. Nice. Um, hmm. Um, Speaking about the DLC itself, since I mentioned that, then it'll most likely be there because why wouldn't it be? It's like the only major thing they have going on this year. Unless you're really into like the shows and the mobile games. I do like how the Teal mask looks. I think it's interesting. The only thing about it is that I do hope that that bird Pokemon, what was it, Pheasantipity? I do hope that is a poison flying type. Just because there's no. Okay, so in Scarlet and Violet, I like pretty much like every Pokemon, even if I don't use it, I like it. But the thing is, they don't exactly add any new flying types that would really fit for me, other than Kilowattrel. But I'll get into why I'm hoping that they add another one in a little bit, because I'm not going to use that one for what I'm doing. So like they have, in terms of flying types, I think they have two. They have Flamigo and, like I just mentioned, the Wattrel one. So Wattrel, Kilowattrel. Flamigo is a single stage, so it's just it, and it's a fighting flying type. Kilowattrel is electric flying type. They're both good, especially if you look at the stats for Flamigo. That thing has borderline starter stats, and you can get that within the first hour of the game. The thing about it is that with that one is like a single stage Pokemon, and I don't really exactly vibe with those. Like I think most people don't, unless you're doing like a competitive thing or you just really like the Pokemon itself. I'm not exactly a big fan of them. Not the Pokemon itself. I meant like the one stage thing. I do like it when they grow and change over time, because it also allows you to do things like change their stats and move sets and their abilities. If they're a single stage Pokemon, you just kind of have to make sure that all that is the best it can be, basically just from the start, or it's trash. And then Kilowattrel is electric flying. I'm using it in the current Violet file that I'm playing right now. The thing about that is that I like to make teams and play the games 12,000 times. And I usually like to have a flying type on my team. And there are a bunch of flying types in the game, but with me specifically, I have this thing where it started recently with Sword and Shield, because I was able to play that game so many times because of how the Switch does game saves compared to like the 3DS. But with that one, I started from my final file, which is what I'm thinking of when I say I hope that Pheasantipity is a poison flying type. I say that because other Pokemon that I want to use, a Pokemon that I want to use for my last file's team will directly come into odds with both the other flying types that are in the game, the base game of Scarlet and Violet. Like Flamigo is part fighting type. The Pokemon I'm talking about, by the way, it's how do you say it? Palma? Because the thing is, it's Palmo. So I want to say Palma, but I'm not exactly sure. This is why you wait for the anime to see the the pronunciations. But that Pokemon directly conflicts with the typing of both the bird Pokemon in the generation currently. Like fighting type, I don't want to have 2 fighting types on my team. I don't want to have 2 electric types either. It doesn't matter that one of them isn't weak to ground. It can get destroyed by rock types, which most of the time will either have ground moves, be part ground type, or ground types will have rock moves. So that's nah. I like to keep. I barely ever like having multiple of one type unless it's like. Again, it was pretty much the same thing I brought up with the 1C, is unless I just like the Pokemon itself and just don't want to substitute it for anything. But even then, I'm hoping that that Pokemon is a flying poison type. Because even if I do like a Pokemon, I would prefer to not have overlap, and I would prefer to have a flying type still. I'm weird, but I'm hoping that is the way that goes. Other than that, the rest of them I don't care. And probably all 3 of them, Munkidori, Okidogi, and Fezandipiti, are probably all going to be poison types given their ability. Is there a Pokemon that has the ability to poison something even though it's not a poison type through ability? I guess Synchronize, but that requires you to be poisoned in the first place. I don't know. I have to look this stuff up eventually. So yeah, that's pretty good. I like the setting for the Indigo Disc, that school in the middle of the ocean. Definitely impractical, but it looks cool, and that terrarium is awesome. See, now, if this was a different type of game, I would have been immediately suspicious on whether or not that terrarium would collapse midway through the game, but because of what I'm talking about, I'm just going to say it looks cool, and that's about it. Don't know how the legendary in that's supposed to play, and I guess it'd be trapped under it, and they're using it for something. I don't know. I'd also like to see how these things really tie into Area Zero at all. Because these, I don't know if you noticed, are entirely different places. And like Area Zero is where the gimmick for the game comes from, and it looks like both the legendaries for the DLC are going to be tied to that. It probably goes without saying, but I feel like I should say it. I'm hoping they do something with that. Just the fact that these things are tied together, and are also, like, they're tied together in terms of story to each other, but they're also tied to the gimmick of the game. And with their legendaries, it should already, like, I'm not too worried about it being connected in any way, because Sword and Shields wasn't like that. But then when you look at it from, like, in hindsight, it was like, well, there's literally nothing that has anything to do with Dynamax except for like the Max mushrooms and the Isle of Armor, but they don't say anything about those, and they have to keep them dense because raids are cool. But yeah, so my main want for that was basically answered when they said that they were connected to each other through story. They're 2 parts of one story, and also with the title of the DLC pack itself. This is going to be way more connected than Sword and Shields ever were. They also just look more interesting than the base game of Scarlet and Violet, which is weird to me, because I thought that not all of it, but some of it was way more interesting than like Sword and Shield. Even in some ways for me, from Legends Arceus. Legends Arceus, I think, in general, has a better setting and has way more interesting stuff happening in it. But, like, the variety of different types of areas in Scarlet and Violet is just bigger. Like, there's the massive lake to one side of the region, as well as, like, that place around that lake that looks like it's almost like perpetually fall. We have the bamboo forest. those harsh mountain paths that lead to the ice on top of the mountain at the top of the region. Then there's the olive fields at the southwest, that huge canyon area southeast, that mining tunneling area at the very east of the map. Like there's a lot in Scarlet and Violet that's really different, as like even being able to go all the way out into the ocean and seeing all the stuff there. Like there's a lot more variety to Scarlet and Violet, I think, but Legends Arceus feels more deliberate. So, and looking at what little we've seen, which honestly it is pretty little that we've seen of the DLC, it looks like it's trying to mix both. But I do like the settings that they have, like the obviously Japanese inspired first part, the Teal mask. That looks really cool. It gives off, like, obviously there are going to be parallels to Sinnoh because a lot of the Hisuian Pokemon are still in the game and you kind of need a way to get them. But honestly, I feel more, this feels more Kanto Johto to me, which is weird for me to say because those are the regions I'm the least familiar with in the series, despite the fact that I've played at least one of every pair of games in the series for at least enough to get the 2 or 3 badges in. Some of them I get like all the way to the end, like original Diamond and Pearl and original Ruby Sapphire. I get like midway, halfway through the game, and then because my brain is broken, I just don't finish them. I guess maybe it's because of the grinding that's required. I can do it, but my brain just checks out and I go do something else. Yeah, I think they're all pretty interesting. And I'm excited to see what they got going on in there. If you look at the shots they give you in the trailers for the DLCs, specifically the most recent one, like that, like actually unironically, that looks beautiful given the angles for the Teal mask. Oh, also another thing. If you look at the trailer for the Indigo Disc double battles in the overworld, that looks pretty cool. I think the only time that they've ever done double battles in the game was for the Ghost type gym leader. I thought that was weird. Where like that's because there are a bunch of parts where you'd think that you would do double battles, which you don't. I think that would have been a cool post-game thing, but nevertheless. Hopefully we'll get to fight gym leaders again in the Indigo Disc, because while it was nice to be able to fight all of them twice, you could fight them in Sword and Shield as many times as you wanted, and Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl had gym leader rematches for the post-game, and Legends Arceus. I don't think they let you fight any of the wardens individually, like you were in the story sometimes, but you could fight all of them in like a special challenge, like 3-on-1, or like most of them. So that seems pretty weird to not have a repeatable way to do that, given the fact that all of Gen 8 had that. So hopefully that's in the DLC somewhere. The biggest thing is more customization options, and I don't even really mean the clothes, though. I do hope that there are more clothes. I'm not too bothered by the school outfits, so long as there are options, like more options. Like for instance, if you buy the DLC, you get another 4. Like if they do that, that's cool. I don't mind not having the Sword and Shield type customization if they just give you a wide variety of stuff like that. But I'm more talking about stuff like the hair. The hair is pretty limiting in Scarlet and Violet. There's a severe lack of like wild hairstyles, and also they feel like, and then also they continue to do that thing where certain hairstyles just can't fit on a hat, or need to be changed for a hat, despite the fact that not only do people actually wear them with hats, but there are characters in the series that have done that as well, the ponytail being one of them. Both in Sword and Shield and in this game, I don't understand why they won't let you wear hats with them. Or if you can, they'll remove it. I think maybe Scarlet and Violet, you can wear like a box cap with the ponytail and still have it. I think. But still, like, there's like a black and white Hilda does that. And then also another thing they don't do, which I think would be cool for them to do, is like the black and white 2 protagonists wear sports visors, so where are those? I'm just talking about customization now, but the main issue with Scarlet and Violet for me is the hair. So long as I have good hairstyles that I can wear hats with, I think I'll be fine. I do like the clothes for both the DLCs, though. I never hated the original ones. I think the most questionable part for me would be the hat, but I don't wear hats like that in the first place. I can't. I have too much hair, so I can't really wear hats in the first place. But if I do wear hats, eventually, or rarely, like the rare times I do, it's not that kind of hat. So I'm like, those are really weird for me. I never really think about those. But yeah, the school uniform thing, I'm not too bothered by. I actually like trying to design around the different uniforms. It's pretty nice to try to figure that out, at least to me anyway. But the DLC clothes, as usual, they look nice. They're awesome. They did this with Sword and Shield, so I'm not too worried about it, but there should probably be more options in the DLCs for customization in the first place. Again, I'm not too worried about it. Sword and Shield did it. And like, this isn't Sword and Shield, and the way the customization works isn't the same, but they'll probably do it. Since I think that was also another really, like, a part that people really liked about the DLC, was them adding more customization on top of what was already there. But again, the Pokemon Presents is in now, what, 6 days? So we'll only have to wait and see. I'm really only expecting, like, maybe they'll show trainer customization, like expanded options for that. Other than that, they'll probably just show more areas, and they'll probably, if that new Terra thing is in the game, which it probably is, that'll be there absolutely. Maybe we'll get an actual release date for part 1. That'd be cool. I'm thinking that it's going to be somewhere in October. That's what I'm thinking anyway. So it's time to see if I'm right. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Now it's time for me to edit this down and see how much of this I can use. I might do more of this. I do like more than Pokemon after all. It's just I can talk for way too long about this series. So yeah, that should be it. Hopefully this does come out this week. And I don't know, I'll figure something out for next week, I guess.